Here we are in another house renovation video. This is definitely a big one and the biggest project I've done by far. So where have I been the past few months? We've just been super busy. So the last video I posted was ripping out the kitchen and we were almost done there, and it was just a mad rush to get that done, get it ready, because then the builder was looking to start. And since then we've literally torn the house apart. We've got a brand new front extension which we're almost ready to knock through. Here we are in the loft space, so we have taken all the old roof off, we've put massive 13-metre steels into the space, we've taken the double hips off to double gables, and we now have a huge loft space that's almost done. Money's just pouring out on a weekly basis to various trades and the builder to get things done, and I'd say we're probably a few weeks away from being watertight, and then at that point the builder will hand back over to us, we can take all the scaffolding down, and then I can start working on the insides and pretty much finishing the rest of the house to do the full top to bottom renovation. I think we'll probably save some rooms until next year just for money's sake. We've spent a lot of the cash in the renovation budget on just getting this roof done, and also things like materials. Aluminium windows cost a lot of money, the stone. We decided to go for a lot of just premium materials. Slate is another one as well. You can buy really cheap concrete tiles, which is what we had before, but instead we're deciding, just because this is ours, to spend a bit more on the quality of the materials as well and just recoup it back in the future through YouTube ad revenue. But we've got some really cool little things like on the atrium, which I'm sure you'll see in a future video, we have electric Veluxes because the height is going to be around 7-ish meters from the ground up to the ceiling, so there's no way you can reach up there and just open a Velux window. So instead we've got electric ones with a little switch. You can then push the switch and then they open and close automatically, just in case it gets a bit too hot in there with all the glass. We've got a bit of ventilation on the top on the roof, so it's all those little things that we're starting to think through. And then I've already been planning out the bathroom space and pretending that I'm in the shower and figuring out how everything should work. But I'll be building the stud walls once we're watertight, so I'll be able to get a good feel for the space before building the actual walk-in wardrobe, the ensuite, and then also the main bedrooms as well. So what have we done so far to get to this stage? Well, we spoke to the architects did all of the designs, we went back and forth on a few little bits, but they did nail it first time in terms of what we wanted. We then spoke to a structural engineer, and we also got the building regulations done at the same time, and then we went into planning permission. So we had planning permission, structural drawings, the building regulations, and just general architect's plans. We then tendered out to the builder to try and find a really good one, and we luckily actually found the builder through the electrician that I've been working with, and he's been doing some of the testing on the house, and he recommended him. The one thing that I always look for is they have to have some kind of Facebook or Instagram page that shows all of their work, that's very active, and they're proud not just to show a plasterboarded wall or a finished house, but actually showing the structure and the inners, and that's the kind of things. That's when I look for an electrician. I go on Instagram, and I don't want someone showing a photo of a nice wall light on a wall or a down light with plasterboard. I want to see the fuse box with wiring. I want to see the inners, and that's the kind of trade that I want. And so far, that has worked really well. It's meant that we've had good people in, people who can be trusted, people who just want to turn up and do a good day's job. I think it's really easy to get tricked by a cowboy, and so far we've been on really good arrangements, and we've never had any issues with any trades to this date, which is really good. Touch wood, if I can touch the structure behind me. It's actually pretty cool to see how different the space is. I actually cannot get across on camera how tall this roof actually is as well. I'll show you a clip of me trying to jump up to try and to try and hit the roof, but it's 2.5 meters in total, and it's been definitely an interesting process to get to this part where we've had the whole roof off, all of the joists have been put in, and then We've had all of the timber work put in pretty much, and now we've got a good sense of all the windows and where they're going. So this is going to be the staircase up to the middle window, and then you basically have a left and a right. So this is kind of bedroom here, and then there's a bedroom there, which is going to be the main bedroom with an ensuite with the Velux there, and another ensuite Velux there, and some kind of like walk-in wardrobe in the space that we've basically got here, something like that. So we'll figure it out. But yeah, I absolutely love some of the shapes at the moment in the roof. Like, this is a really cool view under here. You kind of get a good perspective of the front atrium with what is a 13 meter 600 kilogram steel, and then another one just above us as well, but this one was the big one, which is effectively the purlin that supports part of the front roof. But yeah, loving the angles going on in here, and this is going to be super cool. So that's going to form part of the front atrium, and all of this that you can see here, so all of this is going to get ripped out, and we're going to create the headspace needed to have a huge floor to ceiling atrium, which is pretty cool. Hopefully this gives you a really good idea of like how big the space actually is on camera, but so far it's been pretty fine actually in terms of the experience. We've not had any major issues, just some problems to solve as you would do with any kind of renovation project, so nothing too much to worry about. So what's the plan from here? Well, the builders have built the front extension, and they've gone out of the ground, dug all the foundations, they've built all the walls up pretty much to the wall plate here. They've taken all the roof off, they're building all the roof structure, and then the main builder that we're using is going to finish the flat roof above me here. We're going to be working with a local roofer to do all of this bit here that you can see. So we're basically going to have a watertight shell, and that's going to include aluminium windows, the flat roof, the main pitch roof with the slates on here, all the windows, and then also on the front as well. And then we're going to do the knock through and reconfigure the staircases. That's the point where then we take back over again. So we'll basically have a shell with bricks with stairs, but I'm going to insulate all of this room. I'm going to be getting the electrician back in, he's going to be doing all the electrics, and then also I'll be doing all the plumbing in here as well, fitting all the radiators, and then I'll be getting a company to come in and fit that and connect it to a heat pump after we've heavily insulated the whole building. So I'm going to be doing all the internals, because with material costs and builders costs these days, it's impossible to afford and fund a builder to do the full end-to-end process in a project that is this big. It's just too expensive. So we're cutting down some costs by doing all the internals ourselves, and you've seen some of the videos so far. I fitted the kitchen all myself as well, apart from electrics and plastering. I ripped the room apart, we took the chimney stack out, we did all of that, which you can find in the previous video. And the kitchen was from DIY Kitchens. It was like £3,500. It's super cheap, and fitted it myself, so there's no cost there whatsoever. This might sound crazy, but it's actually easier to build a house from scratch than it is to renovate an existing property, because with existing properties you have to redo the structure, support the current structure. There's some hidden shocks behind walls or when you knock off plaster. So when you build a new build, once you're out of the ground and up to the damp-proof course, there's no surprises. It's all plain sailing. It's very easy. Everything's expected, and you can see everything that's going on. So you're less likely to have any major issues. So stay tuned, and I'm sure that will come up at some point in the future as I look for the next project to work on. It's definitely by far the biggest renovation that I've had to manage, and it's been really good fun. I think there's a lot of carnage inside. You have to live amongst what is effectively a building site, but I think as long as you embrace that and you use the idea, then the benefits of renovating a house compared to just buying a new build are absolutely huge. You can buy a property for a really good price in comparison to the rest of the street, spend some money doing it up. You can either remortgage and pull that back out, or just leave the money locked in to lower your mortgage, and you can make some serious money. And because it's your own property, it's completely tax-free as well. So the money that we make on this house or the equity is all tax-free, which is going to be great for retirement, for a safety net, whatever it is. That is now there, and that's kind of pretty much set for life, really. Even if property prices go down a little bit, which they have done recently, it's still a really good market. It's also just been a great time of year to do it, so I'm glad that we didn't do this through the winter, because I think that would have just added a degree of difficulty of how freezing and cold it can be. Whereas in the summer it's fine. We've got no insulation at the moment in here, so you've got plasterboard and joist, and then that's it. We're open to the elements. So even in the summer, the house has felt colder. I cannot imagine what that would have felt like if it was winter, because it's a cold house anyway. So without any insulation on any of the plasterboard that separates this space from our bedroom below, I'm sure it would have been a lot worse. So we couldn't have done it at a better time, and we tried to time that really well with the builder to make sure that we could start in the spring and then work all the way through the summer. So that's the perfect time of year to build. Otherwise, if you look at channels like the Gosforth Handyman and Andy Mack, who did his own extension, he did that through the winter, and he was saying how difficult that was and how challenging because of the snow, because of hurricanes and wind and rain and all sorts of stuff, and just working in the freezing cold is not very fun.